So picture this. You've got two ancient lands, Egypt, the area that would become Israel. They've been neighbors for like forever. We're talking biblical times, forever. But the modern border, the one on Google Maps, much newer. It all started in 1906. The big players, the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans controlled much of the Middle East, and the British Empire. The British had a major say in Egypt. Those two empires decided a clear line was needed to separate Egypt from Ottoman Palestine. Less about ancient claims, more about colonial administration, making sure everyone knew whose sand was whose. They drew a line, pretty much straight, from Rafah on the Mediterranean coast, down to Taba on the Gulf of Aqaba. Think roommates arguing over room space, but with more sand and camels. Not a border of tradition. A line drawn by foreign powers for convenience. Classic colonial borders that didn't fit the people there. That simple line drawn over a century ago would become one of the most heavily guarded frontiers on Earth. In 1948, Israel declared independence. Things got complicated, really complicated. The old administrative line became an international border between two brand new, very tense neighbors. Egypt and other Arab nations did not recognize Israel. The line in the sand stopped being just a dividing line. It became a front line, the starting point for decades of conflict, where armies literally stared each other down. No friendly waves, no borrowing sugar. It was a symbol of deep, bitter disagreement, which exploded into full-scale wars multiple times. That border, born of fading empires, became the epicenter of modern Middle Eastern politics. Not just a line on a map, a physical manifestation of the Arab-Israeli conflict. For people on either side, separation, fear, the constant threat of violence. Crossing became impossible. The imaginary line turned into a real wall. It set the stage for decades of drama and fighting, and eventually, a surprising twist no one saw coming. After the shock of the 1973 war, something amazing happened. Both sides got tired. It's like after a massive food fight, you look around at the mess and realize maybe, just maybe, talking is better than throwing mashed potatoes. The new leader of Egypt, Anwar Sadat, decided to do something completely unthinkable. In 1977, he announced he was willing to go to Jerusalem and speak directly to the Israeli parliament. This was mind-blowing. It was like the CEO of Coke showing up at a Pepsi board meeting and saying, "Hey guys, let's chat." The world held its breath as Sadat's plane landed in Israel. He was the first Arab leader to ever officially visit the country. This bold move kicked off a series of intense negotiations. The man in the middle was U.S. President Jimmy Carter. He invited Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menachem begin to a secret retreat at Camp David. For 13 straight days, they were locked in cabins, arguing, negotiating, probably getting on each other's last nerves. Carter acted as the ultimate mediator, shuttling between the two leaders, trying to find common ground. It was high-stakes diplomacy, the kind you see in movies, but this was real. The fate of the Middle East was literally being decided in a few rustic cabins in Maryland. Finally, they did it. They reached an agreement known as the Camp David Accords, which led to the Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty in 1979. It was a landmark moment. Egypt officially recognized Israel's right to exist, a huge first in the Arab world. In return, Israel agreed to withdraw completely from the Sinai Peninsula, giving all the land it captured in 1967 back to Egypt. They established full diplomatic relations, exchanging ambassadors, opening embassies. For their efforts, Sadat and Begin were awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. It was a monumental achievement, a true cold day in hell moment for international politics. But let's be real, this peace was what you'd call a cold peace. While the government stopped fighting, the people didn't suddenly become best friends. For Sadat, it was a heroic act in the eyes of the West, but in the Arab world, it was seen as a betrayal. Egypt was kicked out of the Arab League.